I begin this video with a challenge for y'all. See if you can figure out how to fit more bookcases into a house that's already overstuffed with bookcases and DVD cases and monsters and Halloween decorations and creepy cabinets of curiosities and so forth. I'm out of space and I keep getting new books. Well, we're just about at the end of September 2022, and that means the new Nightworms package for the month of September has just arrived. In case you don't know, Nightworms is a company that sends horror books, horror book mystery packages, right to your door every month. Every package includes 2 horror books, occasionally a third, frequently some signed book plates or autographed copies, always a little goodie bag of some extra stuff. They put out a really good package, and I like to open those up right here on this channel. So that's what we're gonna do. I got my September package. As you can see, it's still sealed in their wonderful little black bubble wrap. So I'm gonna open it up, and you're gonna find out at the same time as I do what's inside this wonderfully mysterious little package. And as usual, I probably will not have read the books in this package, so I won't be giving a review right away. Maybe at some point I'll review a bunch of these in the future, depending on how long it takes me to read them, because my to-be-read list is, well, it's not so much a list as it is a library. But I do read a lot, so we'll see how fast I read them and whether I review them or not. But I'll at least give you my initial thoughts as I open these up. I will also be leaving purchase links for the books. If you're interested in getting copies of your own, I'll be leaving those down in the What's It, along with links to all of my other projects, including the Rocky Mountain Paranormal Research Society, the Do You Like Scary Movies podcast, and anything and everything else that I can think of that I might want to advertise to y'all. So do be sure to check that out. While you're at it, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about these books, or books in general, or recommend a horror book. I like reading the comments, and I respond to as many as I can. Also, like this video, share it with your friends and family and everyone you can think of. Help me grow the channel. Your recommendations to other people are really what makes it possible for me to grow this channel and keep doing what I do. So if you like what you see, do the YouTubey things and help me out. And if you don't like what you see, well, help a guy out and do it anyway. Anyway, with all of that out of the way, let me very carefully make a incision with surgical precision so I don't damage the books, because that would be a tragedy. And we'll open this up and we'll see what's inside. All right, the package is open. Let's see what we've got. The first thing to come out is the little goodie bag. I'll get to that in a moment. I'll just leave that there with Dr. McCoy. And I see there are 2 books inside. Let's see what we have. The first one, the thinner one, these are both paperbacks. This one is called Anybody Home? This is a novel by Michael J. Seidlinger. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. I'm unfamiliar with this book or this author, in fact, although I do notice that the blurbs on the back from some other authors are from people that I recognize and authors that I enjoy, so that bodes well. Let's see what the description says. What came first, the home or the desire to invade? A seasoned invader with multiple home invasions under their belt recounts their dark victories while offering tutelage to a new generation of ambitious home invaders, eager to make their mark on the annals of criminal history. From initial canvassing to home entry, the reader is complicit in every strangling and shattered window. The fear is inescapable. Examining the sanctuary of the home and one of the horror genre's most frightening tropes, Anybody Home points the camera lens onto the quiet suburbs and its unsuspecting abodes, any of which are potential stages for an invader ambitious enough to make it the scene of the next big crime sensation. Who knows? Their performance just might make it to the silver screen. That's an interesting premise. I like the idea that this is written as sort of, or at least it sounds like it's written as sort of a tutorial from an experienced home invader to, I guess, student home invaders, for want of a better phrase. That's an interesting idea. The home invasion genre, though very well explored, is a really good, creepy, scary subgenre for horror, because we're meant to feel safe in our homes, and the breach of that sanctity is one of the more frightening things. And in fact, it's even frightening for those of us who protect our homes fairly well, either with weapons or security systems or military or law enforcement training or whatever the case may be, whatever we may be using to protect our homes. Even if we are well protected, and even if we are ultimately victorious in the home invasion conflict, the breach of that sanctity and forcing us to do the kinds of things one must do to defend one's home, these are frightening situations to be in or to explore in a horror story. So even though I'm not familiar with this book, even though I'm not familiar with this author, I'm intrigued by the premise, and I'm very much looking forward to reading Anybody Home. And just as a note, I'm reading a lot of the praise from other authors and publishers and critics, and it sounds like this is shaping up to be a fairly brutal read. So I'm very excited to dig into this one. Next, we have a book called Full Immersion. This is by Gemma Amor. This is an author I'm familiar with. I have heard of her work, although I have never read any of her work, so I'm looking forward to trying this one. Obviously, it's a book that I've never read, so let me read the description for this one, which says, "What can you do when you're reeling from trauma, but you've tried it all? Counseling, yoga, pills, meditation, art, healthy living, none of it makes a dent. What's left?" Magpie is out of ideas. She's desperate enough to try anything. Just when she thinks her life can get no worse, she discovers herself, or rather her own dead body, partially buried in the mud bank of a river. Interesting. That's not where I was expecting that sentence to go. Let's carry on. A man stands by, a familiar stranger. What does he want? And why can't she remember getting here? Why can't she remember anything? Unbeknownst to her, two pairs of eyes watch from behind an observation screen in a room filled with computers and sensors. An experiment is unfolding, but is Magpie the subject or practitioner? Reality becomes a slippery concept, and beyond the glass is something worse still, a hint of an outline shaped in darkness. Magpie realizes all too soon that her journey has transformed from healing to survival. She must become the hunter rather than the hunted, with her missing memories the prey. In turn brutal, beautiful, and absolutely terrifying, Full Immersion is the latest speculative horror from Gemma Amor. That sounds like a really interesting book. Even reading the description, I was sort of on shaky ground because I thought I knew where it was going, and then every time I thought I had a grasp of what kind of book this was going to be, it took a hard left turn and went in a completely different direction. So if even the description does that, presumably the book will as well. I kind of like this idea that people are watching on computer screens and sensors and things, so that adds sort of a science fiction sounding element to it. But I also like the sort of supernatural horror element that she's found her dead body and is trying to figure out what happened. So lots of things to be interested. And it also sounds like there are some psychological elements in terms of dealing with trauma and the sort of counseling and psychological healing and all of that going on. I'm interested in all of these things. I like the supernatural element, the psychological element, and the science fiction element. This sounds like a really good book. That's Full Immersion by Gemma Amor. And that brings us, of course, to this little goodie bag. There's always some little paper stuff as well as maybe some other things, so let's just dig right in and see what's inside this month's extra little goodie bag. Now, the first is this little information slip that always comes. It identifies the theme of this month's package, which is Fever Dream. That's the theme for September 2022. And it also tells us what all of the stuff is in our little goodie bag. That's kind of nice, so you can double check and make sure you didn't miss anything. I'm not going to read that now because I want to be surprised as I dig through, but it's nice that they include that. And then on the back, there's an advertisement. It says, "Welcome to Black Wells," which looks like that's a new series. It says, "Explore the haunted town of Black Wells, Colorado." Local interest for me. I'm from Colorado. In the new horror series by C.S. Humble, published by Dark Heart Books. The series begins with all these subtle deceits on October 4th, 2022, and continues with all the prospect around us on December 6th, 2022. So, obviously that's not included in this package, that's just an advertisement, but that sounds fairly intriguing as well, so I may look those books up when I get done filming this. Let's see what else we have in our little goodie pouch. We always get a bookmark. Here's our Fever Dream September 2022 Nightworms bookmark. It says Fever Dream on this side, and we've got the Nightworms logo, and just with sort of a pattern on this side. For some reason, I seem to collect bookmarks, so I'm always thrilled to get these, even though I usually end up using just odd bits of paper and receipts, or maybe this paper bag or something as a bookmark. Whatever, I collect bookmarks and then use odd bits of paper. I'm a weirdo, what can I say? Let's see what else is inside. We've got a little packet of something thicker. This is Crooked Crows. This is a tea. This is called Autumn Brew. This says black tea, cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, ginger root, and black pepper. That sounds like a really nice blend of things. I always like that they give us coffee or tea or, well, let's just say something caffeinated to enjoy along with our fine literature, so I'll look forward to trying that. I'm not familiar with this Crooked Crows Tea Company, but, well, I'll give this one a try, and if I like it, I'll probably be buying something. That's not the end, though. What else do we have? The next thing out, we have a fridge magnet that says, I Heart Indie Horror, with a heart has a little bite taken out of it. I'm not much for putting magnets on the fridge, but I will find a place to display this magnet, because I do like indie horror, as a matter of fact. Then we have a Nightworms sticker, sort of a shiny sticker. Again, I'll find some place to display that. I enjoy a good sticker. And we're still not done. I'm still digging stuff out. This is a nice package. We have a book plate, a signed book plate. This one is autographed by Jim Amore, so that book plate will go in this book. It'll go into Full Immersion. And there's yet more stuff. Okay, this is the last thing, and this is another book plate. This one is signed by Michael J. Seidlinger, and this one will go with the other book. It'll go with Anybody Home. So, transforming not just one, but both of these into autographed copies, which is wonderful for a nerdy little bibliophile like myself who collects autographed books. Anyway, I really couldn't be happier with this month's Nightworms package. I got 2 great books, I got a bunch of little goodies, including signed book plates and some tea and a bookmark. Lots of good stuff. I'm always pleased with these Nightworms packages. This one is no exception. On a side note, if you're interested in the literary side of horror, which is not the only thing I talk about on this channel, I do books and movies and Halloween decorations and anything to do with horror, really, but I do like to talk about books. If you like book recommendations, well, for one thing, I can't necessarily recommend these yet because I haven't read them yet, but they certainly sound good. But in addition to this, make sure you subscribe and ring the notification bell and stay tuned, because in the very near future, I'm going to be doing another video in which I outline my reading recommendations for the upcoming Halloween season. And not to spoil anything, but I think I've picked a pretty good selection of books for this October. But that does it. So until next time, take care and stay scared.